Although I never met Clara Morjain, I feel very honored that we get to have her name on every single sefer, every book that comes into our library here in the Kollel.
The Jewish people wouldn't stay in one place for too long, so they went from Turkey to Cuba, and that's where she met my grandfather. When they got to Cuba, they got married in Cuba, and my uncles and my mom were all born in Cuba, and then when Castro took over, they ended up relocating to Miami. She was the founding rock of the entire family. So one of the attributes that I would use to describe my grandmother would be strong family values. There was not one thing that she wouldn't do for her family. She had an unbelievable love of life and an unbelievable love for her children. There was not anything that she wouldn't do for her children or her grandchildren. My grandmother didn't come from a religious background, but the values that she instilled on her children and in her grandchildren were symmetrical or were parallel to what the Torah values are. For my grandmother to have her name in all the Sefarim, by other people learning on behalf of her, it's raising her neshama. So I believe that it's Hashem's work, that He's taking care of people that took care of His people.
To me, there were 5 matriarchs. I have Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, and Leah, and my grandmother Mima. So we learned from Sarah Imeinu that she opened her tent, and she always had people living inside and coming and eating and feeding people and doing everything, the attribute of chesed. And I know that this dinner is taking place in the month of Adar, and they say Mishanichnas Adar Marbim Simcha, which I think is so appropriate because my grandmother was full of simcha. She was the life of everywhere she approached it. She always looked at the glass half full and not half empty. From Avram Avinu, we learned how to recite Birkat Hamazon, and we say thank you. And thank you was definitely very important in her vocabulary, and she was always thanking anyone who would do the most minute thing for her. She was very grateful. She was a very grateful person. With Rivka comes a concept also of tzniut. They say that when she came off the camel, she hid, she tied. My grandmother also, she was not the center of attention. She always shied away from attention. She did what she did, but quietly. We hope that this inspires other people into being able to do what she did and what she has left for us, so that it will be lehilui nishmat, her neshama, that she should continue to have an aliyah and to see how much she has impacted us in a positive manner in our lives, in our children's lives. Look how these farim and these sidurim and everything have her name on it. Like, I think it's a beautiful honor for her, and I think it's such an amazing, at a time where we needed help and guidance, the kollel and all the rabbanim were available, and now the tzfarim in this kollel have her name, in which she, in an indirect way, taught us on how to daven and to lead our lives. I think that it's a beautiful addition to the legacy that she has left us.
They say that the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. If that's true, just knowing Esti and knowing Mrs. Kopel, I can just imagine how great of a person Mrs. Morjain must have been. I can just imagine what her Gan Eden, what it must be like going up in Shamayim, how much they're honoring her and giving her that glory up there.
Mrs. Morjain and Mr. Sandler were people who were dedicated to the continuity of Jewish education, and through the dedication of this Beis Medrash and the library, in their memory, through the Limud HaTorah of the Beis Medrash, and through the Sfarim that are constantly being used, their legacy lives on.